So can you do a good exercise with these? Yes, of course, you can use water bottles, you can use backpack, you can use buckets, canvas, shopping. I'll show you, packed with rice, grains of different weights. Weight is a weight. So instead of holding a big Olympic bar on your shoulder and doing squats, you can just put a knapsack with 10 kg or 15 kgs weight in your knapsack and do the same kind of weight training. In fact, now I found that many things which we do with backpacks is better than, carrying weights on your shoulders. So let's think of a bicep curl. This was during the early kind of lockdown when we were absolutely not going out. So we could just fill in a bucket and do these bicep curls, barbell rowing, front squat, shoulder lateral raise, tricep. So everything is possible. You don't need only the gym. Now, one has to combine this with aerobic workout. How many days? Usually 2 days. Sometimes if your goal is different, suppose you want to become a good cyclist, then of course aerobic training will take more precedence, but you will also need muscle strengthening or resistance training. And you need a very strong fit core. Core is the mother of all when it comes to fitness. So calisthenics, this is called the pike push-up. This is an upside down push-up which you do. So it's an ancient technique of using body weight for strengthening flexibility and endurance. So as I gave you, there are different kinds of push-up which you can use to basically hit different body parts. The bicep is different. You can hit the tricep. You can hit the chest. In pike push-up, you can do the upper shoulder and the trapezius workouts. And always, whenever I talk about fitness, there are always people who will ask me, what do we do? Is yoga good for health? It is excellent for health. It is excellent for a peaceful mind. But if you got to lose some 10 kgs or something, the basic pure yoga will not work. You have to combine it with different kinds of exercises like aerobic exercise or different kinds of yoga, Bikram yoga, and there are so many different kinds of yoga. And you cannot lose weight. I have seen and I've studied everything about the Bikram yoga technique, and he will fast his student three days with just a glass of water, and then they lose weight. But he became very popular in the West with these because people started losing weight, and he used some techniques very intelligently to bring yoga into focus. So there are different types of yoga, and you should use them according to your. But I always feel that yoga is way of life. I cannot do yoga in the morning and think about yogic way and party in the night. That doesn't work actually. It's a kind of a lifestyle which we have to lead. So when you talk about weight maintenance, you should eat less number of times. That's what we promote, and we will talk about it if you raise a question about it. Correct proportion of macros and micros. Increase activity and build muscle. Building muscle is very important to become lean and stay fit. Sleep right and sleep tight. So now we were in conference about testosterone. We're talking with Dr. Mongia, who is an authority on testosterone in the world. He said that the second part of the sleep, that from 2 a.m. onwards, is the sleep which is very important in men for a very good secretion of growth hormone as well as testosterone. So our concept was कि नहीं जल्दी सो जाओ जल्दी उठो. That's the Indian concept. But now the research has shown something a little bit different. We will have to work more on it and research it more whether it is good for us in the long run. You should always have friends who share your healthy lifestyle. So they will always inspire each other. You must set realistic goals. We had a 122 kg man who wanted to be 80 kg in 3 months. This cannot happen. You have to lose it, in a stepwise and in a scientific manner. Make small changes. Start somewhere. Make small changes. Stop sugar. Stop sugar today. Make a small change. You will find a difference. You must remember that each person is different, and there is no Google site which will give you कि ये diet खाने सब ठीक हो जाएंगे. I am different, you are different. My needs are different, yours are different. So it has to be customized to a particular individual, and you must expect that it will be successful. Just a thought. So if you have 1 can of Coke, you have to do 23 minutes of walking, right? Forget about the double stuffed Oreos and everything. So fitness is a journey and never a destination. And always remember, the desire to become fit will always come from within, not from your husband, not from your boyfriends, not from anybody else, not from your friends, wives, nobody. It will always come from within. Thank you so much for your time. I am very sorry that we had some issues regarding it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was such an informative and amazing talk. And I hope all of us are inspired enough to go in the right way. We'll quickly move on to the last talk and take all the questions at the end. So whoever has questions, please put them in the chat box. So is that okay with you?
Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Also request them, Yamini, to post all the questions at the end of the talk, not right away, because we end up missing the questions then.
Welcome, Vaidi ma'am.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so go ahead, Yamini.
Yeah. So we quickly move to the last talk of the session. And I invite our third chairperson, Dr. Seema Dande, to invite our next speaker, Dr. Amol Kadu.
Hi everyone. I would like to thank. Hi, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. I would like to thank our president for allowing me to chair this interesting session. So today the topic is mythbusters of nutrition and diet. So in short, we are going to know the truth about dieting. So for this, I would like to invite Dr. Amol Kadu, who is a consultant orthopedic and joint replacement surgeon. One of his special interests is fitness and nutrition. He is INFS certified fitness consultant. That stands for Institute of Nutrition and Fitness Sciences. He is also an ISSA certified sports nutrition and strengthening consultant. That ISSA means International Sports Science Association. He's a director and consultant at IS Fitness. So everyone knows that to stay fit is the need of the hour. It is the most pressing need in the present times. So it's a great opportunity for all of us to listen from him and clear our doubts. So over to you, Dr. Amol. Thank you.
Thank you, Seema ma'am. Now it's like coming to bat after Virat Kohli and Sachin Tendulkar have finished their innings, and now I have to take the charge. So can I start sharing my screen?
Can you be a little louder, Dr. Amol? Can you be a little louder?
Yes. Is it okay now, ma'am?
Yeah, better.
Okay. So we have heard about the concepts of nutrition as well as exercise, and now we are going to see some issues which usually face when we start our fitness journeys, and there are a lot of myths prevailing in the industry and in our own fraternity about the diet. So we'll just go through some things, because one of the most dangerous thing that is floating around in this fitness industry is bro science. Like all the experts and all the gym trainers, they have their own experiences, which is like a part of folklore since years, and that doesn't have a scientific backing to their belief. And these myths and these advices are like perpetuated by experts without any scientific evidence. And usually these are like not complete science. So we have to be aware of this bro science advices. And now we'll see how can we break these myths. So the most important myth that we usually followed since ages, like since 1960s, American Heart Association had advised us to stay away from fat, and it was always blamed for everything, every obesity, the heart diseases, blood pressure, diabetes, and everything was blamed on fat. And then came the fat-free food industry and fat-restricted diets, and then everything was fat-free, and we blamed everything on fat. So now if we look back, whether we were right, because even after taking care of our fat content of our diet, having fat-free foods, we never improved on the statistics of diabetes, obesity, and heart diseases. So now even the American Heart Association has realized, and their recommendations have now changed, and they have taken away the onus from the fat, and now fat is not that bad that it used to be. Rather, fat is an essential part of our diet, because it has got very important action in all metabolic. There are a lot of metabolic reactions, production of hormones, and the most important thing is whatever dietary fat that we consume, usually it is not getting deposited directly as fat. So first myth that was floating around was to be aware of having fat in our diet. Although we need to quantify it, we need to be aware of what kind of fat we are eating. We have to include them in our diets, and we don't need to fear about them. So if you see the facts on the fat, we see there are a lot of unsaturated, polyunsaturated, and monounsaturated fats, which are good. They lower rates of cardiovascular diseases and mortality, and they lower bad cholesterol. But you have to look for trans fats, which are still equally dangerous, and we have to take care of these fats in our diet. Second myth is, whenever a person starts a weight loss journey, usually it begins with cardio. Whenever he or she goes to the gym, he has been advised to run on the treadmill or go on the elliptical machine or start doing cycling, because that is what is considered as a best tool to lose weight. But the problem is, if you do cardio endlessly without any goals, without any proper knowledge of what you are doing, you just burn calories. So it doesn't give you the desired weight loss or desired result that you want, because by just burning calories, you are at the same time you are also causing oxidative stress on your muscles, and which causes muscle loss. And weak muscles usually will end, which will land with the weak muscles will make you land up with injuries. So if you see, cardio for weight loss is absolutely not a good or a right way to go ahead, and there are no long lasting benefits with the cardio. Although you can use it as a proper technique along with other dietary precautions and dietary advices, and then followed by proper workout advices. If you include cardio as a part of your weight loss journey, then probably it might work. But using it only as a tool for fat loss, then probably it's not a right way to do it. Then another myth that we come across when we go to gym, when we are beginners, we go to gym, we are planning to lose 10 kgs of weight, and we are like determined to do it the way it should be done, and then we go for advices, and then the first thing trainer says is, don't come empty stomach. You eat something before you come to gym, because you have to train hard. And at that moment, it defeats the purpose. Like, you are going to a gym to work out, to burn calories, and you load yourself with a lot of calories. So that defeats the purpose of fat loss, because as soon as you eat, the blood sugar spikes, the insulin comes over, it takes over the whole metabolism, and then the fat loss, whatever the fat loss is happening over the night, because of the secretion of growth hormone and cortisol, it immediately stops. So the basic purpose of fat loss is immediately lost when you have something before you go to your workouts, or you have something early in the morning. So if the goal is weight loss or fat loss, the fasted state workout usually is the right way to do it. The concept of eating before you going to the workout or going to the gym or going for the training, then probably it is right for people who are aiming at muscle gain, who are kind of advanced trainers. They are doing workouts for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, doing very hard training. They need energy for their trainings, and those people particularly may get some benefit of these pre-workout meals. But if the target or if the goal is like fat loss, then probably that is not the right way to go ahead. Another most controversial advice that we usually get is that about the breakfast. They usually say the breakfast should be like a king, and it is the most important meal of the day, because it boosts your metabolism, it sets tone for your day. But that is not the right thing, because as soon as you have a breakfast, as we have earlier discussed, the insulin takes over, the cortisol drops, and your natural fat loss process, which is happening throughout the night, it stops. So breakfast is not going to boost your metabolism. It is not going to set the tone of your day. It will hinder in the journey of your fat loss. So not having a good breakfast is important, but it is the balanced diet throughout the day that is important. And in case if you're looking at fat loss, if you're looking at weight loss, then a high protein breakfast is the right way to do it. So it is not absolutely mandatory to have a breakfast in the morning. It is absolutely an optional choice. It is like an optional meal of the day. Then there are some celebrity dietitians who advise eating small frequent meals, because the small meal they claim to boost your BMR, and the splitting the meals will definitely help them in weight loss. But it's not so, because multiple small meals are not going to boost your body's metabolic rate. the total composition and structure of your diet and the negative energy balance is going to work when you are going through your weight loss journey. So a structured,
Sir, sorry to
quantified
interrupt.
nutrition. Hello.
Sir, can you be a bit louder?
Yeah, volume is low.
Hello. Hello.
Is
And
it
Dr.
possible to be a bit louder?
Dr. Kamal, can you use earphones if you have? If you have earphones,
I
that
am
will be better.
using.
You're using them? Okay.
Am I okay now?
Better, much better.
Okay. The headphones were not working right, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh,
much
okay.
Okay. So actually, the splitting of meals and having multiple small meals is probably not not going to help in boosting your BMRs. But right composition and structure of your diet and a quantified nutrition in your balanced diet is going to help you in succeed in your weight loss journey. So another tool that already Sadashiv sir has discussed about running. So running for weight loss is quite popular because those who want to lose weight, those who want to they are starting their fat loss journey, they start running. And mind well, running is a sport. It's an endurance sport. So don't use it as a tool for weight loss. If you are running without proper training, you may lose a lot of muscle. It may cause back injuries, knee injuries, and you can land up with some disabilities with you, and you will have to stop your exercise schedules for long duration of time. So don't use running as a weight loss tool. If you like running, if you're passionate about running, then take it up as a sport, train yourself properly, have proper balanced diet and strength conditioning, which is required for any sport, and then pursue running as a sport. Then again, Sadashiv sir has discussed this. The usual advice to all the females in the gym is that don't lift weights because they claim that females will become hulks. You will become muscular, you will start looking like a man. But it's not possible because the hormonal environment is totally different. Testosterone is always lacking. So lifting weights is the way to go for females if they are looking for fat loss, because once you develop muscles, as Sadashiv sir has said, muscles are furnace for their calories. So it's very important that ladies lift weights, they do resistance training, and that will also help them in their fat loss journey. At the same time that they'll get good toned look, and whatever weight loss they have achieved with their proper dietary regime and their fitness regimes, if you gain muscle, you probably will maintain the lost weight better. Another popular exercise is morning walk, supposed to be panacea for health and best way to keep fit. Whenever you have any problems, you go to a doctor or a physician, the one thing which is advised is start walking. But as Sadashiv sir has said, it's very repetitive, very easily adaptable, and it loses the benefit very early because it only works in burning calories. It doesn't help you in gaining muscle or winning any kind of endurance. If it is maintained the same distance for same year, same amount of time, it is not going to give you any results. Then few of our clients say that once I start the gym, I'll probably lose the weight, but फिर से छोड़ दूंगा तो फिर I'll gain weight. So the answer to this is there is any fitness regime for a short time can never give you good results. The consistency and discipline is the most important thing. And you start a lifestyle, you start some fitness regime for some point of time, you live it after some time, then your health is going to suffer because metabolic is not static, it is dynamic. It depends the way you eat, the way you exercise, the way you spend your day, how much active you are. So gaining weight after stopping gym is going to happen if you don't follow the healthy lifestyle after leaving the gym. Another myth is about the spot reduction. The people, like clients, come to us that they say कि हमको सिर्फ पेट से वजन कम करना है, थोड़ा सा जो paunch निकला है उसको कम करना है, but that is not possible. Spot reduction is a myth. Whenever you go on a proper diet, proper exercise schedule, the overall fat loss occurs, and it is not possible that you lose fat from your belly and you look better with any particular kind of diet or particular kind of exercise. A lot of people go and do 1,000 ab crunches, some kind of tummy tuckers, and like a lot of exercises which are focused on abs. Probably it will help in toning the abdominal muscle, but it is not going to give you a flat belly. So it is not advisable to waste time on such exercises which focus on any particular area, and rather go for the compound exercises which focus on bigger muscles and which will help you in losing weight faster. The biggest myth which we usually face whenever we give diet or when we give dietary advice to patient is about whey protein. People are very scared of taking whey protein supplements. So that is one of the biggest myths floating in the common population. But mind well, this is just a milk protein, most complete and safest source of protein. It is one of the easily digestible proteins and a very good bioavailability. So whey protein, there is nothing to be afraid of. You can always take or advise to any of your patients or any person in your family, even your children. It is absolutely safe. So one thing which you have to ensure is you take it from the right place and the right product. That is the only thing which you should consider. Then if you go to gyms, the most important, like for youngsters, the young people who go to gym, they have been advised to go for steroids. And that is the usual belief that without steroids, you cannot make a good physique. But we have seen, and we have already, like a lot of Imran and Sadashiv sir will agree, that we have seen people who have achieved fantastic physiques, six-pack abs without any steroids and only with quantified nutrition and dedicated training schedules. So steroids are absolutely no, and those should be discouraged always. Then a lot of fad diets are moving in the society. So the most important concept about any diet is eating less means diet. So by eating less, if you're losing weight, then it is absolutely unhealthy. Extreme calorie deficits will always be unhealthy, and these are not sustainable way to lose weight. And once you start eating less than your requirement, your body's metabolic rate goes on decreasing, and whenever you come back to your routine diets, usually the weight rebounds. So again, eating less is not the key. Balanced diet, quantified nutrition is the only solution, and that is only what will give you the healthy weight loss. There are a lot of people who believe that they exercise to eat. There are a lot of people who we come across that I am regularly exercising. I spend 2 hours in the gym, so I can eat anything and everything that I want. But this is not possible. As we have earlier discussed, if you want to be fit, if you want to be healthy, the diet and exercise has to be balanced. They should go hand in hand, because weight is not a criteria anymore for seeing whether a person is healthy or not. Rather, body composition is the key. So for the best result, you have to look at diet and exercise, and they should complement each other. Again, we have seen proteins damages kidneys. Whenever we advise patients to go for improving protein content in their diets, then people get scared because they think if we take a lot of protein, then probably it will damage our kidneys. But mind well, proteins are the basic building blocks of our body. They are very essential for growth and repair. And now in the literature, it has been said, if something which is more than 1 gram per kg, that can be called as high protein. And that also depends on the activity and the exercise and the athletic lifestyle of that person. And it depends on the body composition. So high protein diet, if you are taking 1 gram per kg of protein in your diet, probably that is not even high protein diet. So only patients who have existing kidney disease should monitor their protein intake. If a person has no issues with their kidney, then probably they can take proteins very safely. But why now, after taking these myths, we have we have listened to Dr. Sadashiv, Dr. Imran, and we are trying to be fit, we are trying to be healthy. Why we are worried that we will be obese, and why we need to worry about obesity. And again we are stressing on one point that we need to preserve the muscle, we need to gain muscle. Why are we worried about muscle? Why? Because of one creeping demon that we aren't probably aware of, or rather we ignore that during our growing up time, that is sarcopenia. So sarcopenia is one thing which everyone, every clinician, every physician, every layman should be worried about. During our life, we start from childhood to elder to the old age, we are continuously losing muscle. After the age of 30, we start losing muscle, and that is what causes sarcopenia. So what is sarcopenia? Sarcopenia is a degenerative loss of skeletal muscle, skeletal muscle mass, muscle quality, and muscle strength associated with normal aging. So it is not a disease, it's an aging process. And who is affected? Right now, if you see, there are more than 50 million people are affected with sarcopenia. And probably after 40 years, we'll see more than 200 million people will suffer from sarcopenia. And why this sarcopenia happens? It is normal aging process, decreased level of hormones like testosterone. As we age, our physical activity decreases. Our nutrition is not taken care of. There are a lot of other problems like smoking, alcohol. There are a lot of neuromuscular change. The increased cytokine production in our body. These all factors leads to loss of muscle, and that's a normal process. And what effects this causes? If you have less muscle mass, you have decreased muscle strength and a very reduced capacity to work. They have a reduced aerobic capacity. You will have problems with your gait. You can have falls, you can have fractures. As your muscles are weak, ultimately your bones will be weak and you will suffer with osteoporosis. And all these will lead to loss of physical function, and then you will become more and more dependent on others for mobility. And ultimately it will decrease your basal metabolic rate. So sarcopenia starts around 4th decade. So after 40s, you will start a sudden peak in your muscle loss, and you start losing 1% muscle every year. And this is just because of the aging process itself. And at the age of 70 and 75, you will see the peak of this sarcopenia. So once you get into this sarcopenia, then you just get landed up with the vicious cycle of obesity, leading to loss of muscle, leading to reduced BMR, which reduces your activity. This activity reduction will lead to more loss of muscle. And again, that loss of muscle will result in more and more obesity. So once you get into this vicious cycle of sarcopenia, the most dreaded complication nowadays that we usually face is the sarcopenic obesity. The one obesity that Imran has discussed is lean obesity. The another more complicated kind of obesity is sarcopenic obesity. This is a unique type of obesity where there is an excess subcutaneous fat or a visceral fat with very minimal skeletal muscle and very minimal intramuscular fat depositions. So this is a hyperinflamed state, and which is more prone to chronic diseases. Patients are more metabolically compromised, and this leads to more frailty, more morbidity, and more disability. So this is the most important issue which we need to be aware of, because sarcopenic obesity is very common nowadays, even in India. It is more in European and American citizens, but still in India we are now finding a lot of patients with sarcopenic obesity. So is it inevitable? Agreed that this is a normal aging process, but is it inevitable? So no. Sarcopenia, although it's a normal aging process, it is partially reversible. And that is why we are focusing on these two lifestyle modification factors. That is nutrition and physical activity. These factors are modifiable, which can help you get rid of this sarcopenia, and ultimately which will help you improve your osteoporosis. So nutrition, if you have adequate protein intake, anything more than 1.2 gram per kg body weight, vitamin D3 supplements, significant effect on muscle strength, and structured balanced diet, ensuring basic nutrition as well, like having proper amount of carbohydrate, fats, and proteins, and maintaining a higher protein intake. This is the change which can help you fight with this sarcopenia. And again, resistance training. Because resistance training, if you start resistance training after age of 40, you will probably increase your muscle strength. That will in turn boost your basal metabolic rate. It will increase your carbohydrate tolerance. It will prevent muscle loss. Even if you are on a crash diet, or if you are following some kind of dietary regimen, if you are doing resistance training, it will help you preventing from muscle loss. Again, mood elevation and calorie burning is an additional advantage. But if you want to fight sarcopenia, you need to develop muscle strength and muscle mass, so that even if you are losing it, you gain some, so you have some in the time when you are aging. So the take home message will be, you should be aware about what the myths, what is the fact, and what are the myths. You stay physically active, focus on your balanced nutrition, have adequate proteins in your diet, maintain your vitamin D3 levels, and it's absolutely must that everybody should add weight training as a part of their fitness regime. And mind well, it's never too late to start. So for aging gracefully, mind well, resistance training and balanced nutrition is the key. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that fantastic talk with so much of information. And I think all the three talks have just been fabulous, very inspiring. The entire chat box is just already flooded with questions. And I think it's going to be a very long Q&A session. Vaidehi ma'am,
Yeah.
over to you for some comments.
Yeah. Yes. Should we start with the Q&A right away? Because there are lots and lots of questions already.
Of course, we are ready for it.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question, can we do cardio for 2 days, weights for 2 days, and yoga for 2 days? Any one of you can take it.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
You can use any combination you want, but it all depends on the goals which you want to have. Suppose if you want to lose, say, 15 kg or 10 kg of weight and around, say, 6 or 7 kg of fat, then this kind of, combination may not work, because you don't have adequate time for weight training and adequate time for doing aerobic activity. But you can always do two things, or I would say there are certain options in this. You can do weight training on 5 days, and you can add cardio with weight training for 3 days. Now, what to do first? Should you do aerobic first and then go for weight training? That also depends on your kind of focus which you should have. Suppose if you are more keen on putting muscle mass and losing weight at the same time, then you should do weight training first and then add 20 minutes of aerobic training to that schedule, because there is something called CNS fatigue. So CNS fatigue is something where your performance in that particular exercise regime and your effort goes down. So if let's say, for example, if you're doing legs, you should not do squat at the end of your complete workout, because you will not be able to put that effort in it. So complicated compound exercises first, and depending on the goal, you can take that first. Yoga you can do every day. Yoga is a very good kind of exercise, but you cannot just compartmentalize 2 days. Unless you want to maintain some basic fitness, then it's okay. But 2 days it is difficult for a trainer to combine all exercise so that all muscle groups are exercises properly, and you also need time to put those muscle groups in action. So it is a little bit difficult to do that schedule.
So 2 to 2 is just for maintenance.
Yeah, just for maintaining basic fitness.
Basic fitness, yeah. Please elaborate on sleeping well. What is the ideal time or best hours for good sleep, and minimum how many hours?
Yeah. See the recent studies which they have compared the sleeping pattern of two different kind of athletes. Number one, the one group had used to sleep around 8 hours at a stretch, and second group used to sleep around 6 hours. So there is a difference of 2 hours. Okay. So those who slept for 8 hours, they lost more fat, and they had low cortisol level, baseline cortisol level, than who slept for 6 hours. So even a lack of 2 hours sleep may not be good while on diet and for for your overall metabolic health. So definitely the recommendation is to have a good sleep, a natural sleep for at least 8 hours. So now the timing of sleep doesn't matter. Somebody sleeps at 2 a.m. and they get up at 10. Somebody sleep at 10, they get up at 6. So idea is to have 8 hours non-stop, a good sound sleep.
Great. I think Dr. Sadashiv already covered these weight training exercises that can be done at home.
Yes.
Maybe you can just quickly elaborate on that, what they can do at
All
home.
kinds of weight exercise can be done at home. and you can use all as I told you, you can use backpacks, you can use water bottles, you can use bucket filled with water to do it. You can also, there are certain ways in which you can also train difficult areas, like training back is very difficult at home, so everybody cannot do pull-ups. So there are certain options to do it, and certain tricks can be used to train that muscle group. So obviously, if you look at the whole picture, you can do everything at home, given the certain circumstances which we are in today. But unless one goes to that particular environment of a gym, you don't really figure it out. So that is the fall. But staying at home should not stop you from weight training in any way.
Okay, so your lectures have been so effective. People are demanding, can you organize online exercise sessions or personal training for us? अभी सोचो 7 स्टार करना है, क्रिटिकल केयर यूनिट और जॉइंट रिप्लेसमेंट करना है कि ये करना है. आपको सोचना है.
I'll tell you what happened.
Lot of demand for you.
क्या हुआ, basically three of us were friends. We used to run in Seminary Hills. We were training for marathons during that time. So we started researching and studying what keeps the athlete so fit. And then we researched it, we read many journals and everything. And we started a small WhatsApp group where we used to guide people to do this. A time came when we did not have time only to cater to these, there were so many inquiries coming. And then we decided to take formal qualifications in exercise science and nutrition, and we turned professional about 3 years back. We have around 1,500 clients now, and it is I think it's better than doing urology at the present point of time.
Right. Maybe we can share your website so people can log in and just check out what you all are doing. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
So it's IAS Fitness.
Yes, iasfitness.com is our website, and
Yeah.
you can also find us on Insta and FB.
Okay, so that makes it simpler. What is the best set of exercises for overall weight loss? If you can just give a quick outline.
Amol will take it.
Amol, yeah. Dr. Amol, sir. Set of exercises for overall weight loss. You're muted.
Amol sir, need to unmute.
Okay, overall weight loss, the two things equally matter, diet and exercise. So if you are looking for weight loss, then I'll say 80% what matters is diet, which should go in hand with the exercise schedule that you are following. Like if you are doing a proper diet and in the form of exercise, you are only walking for 2-3 kilometers, then probably it will not work. So it has to be a proper balance between diet, which is the most important part of that journey, and followed up with some resistance training or basic strength training, followed by some functional or HIIT kind of cardio workouts. So these are two important things which will form your weight loss journey.
Right. And if you can take this up, which company whey protein? Because you talked about whey protein. Which company?
Like there are a lot of companies, I won't mention brands here, but there are a lot of good companies available. You can search on Amazon, or even there are a lot of Indian companies as well now in the market. So better go by the market rather than, we won't take any particular names to.
In fact, we are not endorsing any product.
Yeah.
You can't, yeah. Right. Many machines in market suggest spot reduction and cellulite like cryolipolysis, ultrasound, abdominal laser technology, etc. What's your take on that?
Myths.
It will eventually come back. It will eventually come back if your diet is not good. It is for like once you are on a diet and you have done everything, and now the last part of cellulite or last part of fat is very difficult to lose, then in that case you can try continuing your diet. But we have seen it works for some time, and whenever you go on calorie excess, it all comes back. It haunts you back.
Okay.
I agree with Imran that it may probably will work for the last part of the journey, but people usually try it in the first part of the journey.
Yes. Right.
When you are ready to step on the stage, you are prepared to that extent. When you're stepping on the stage, at that particular point of time, if you do this, it helps a little bit marginally to put
So
you
if you want to change, you have to change.
Right. Okay. Which is the reliable app for calculating calories?
Imran.
What I suggest, you should learn by doing research on Google. See, there are many apps like Healthify Me, Fitter, and lot many apps will be there. But the end thing is you should be able to, you should remember. See the basic things about, like, the protein source, whey, eggs, chicken, soya. So the basic ingredients is not very difficult to track. Like if you eat 10 things on regular basis, you learn it by heart. So that will be always easy to remember it for lifetime. But there are many other apps like Healthify Me, but they have their own fallacies. They are not very accurate. They may not be very accurate. So you should Google and you should do your own research.
The
Yes.
American Federal Agricultural Ministry has an app which is called MyPlate.
My plate, yeah.
Yeah. So that is also a good app you want to, if you want to app to track your calories.
One more question about whey protein. How much amount should be given to the kids because it's safe to be given?
See,
Whey protein, how much amount can be given to the kids? How do they calculate?
kids require around 1 gram per kg of body weight. Okay.
Okay,
And they
even
may
for
try
kids the
that much.
same.
Yeah, 1 gram at
Right.
least, and their requirement keeps changing as they grow. So it usually becomes very, it becomes very easy to fulfill their protein requirement by just diet. In very stubborn kind of kids who don't eat eggs, who don't eat chicken, who don't eat paneer, then it's okay to include 1 scoop or 2 scoop. 1 scoop is fine. Like I think 1 scoop should not be a problem.
But you mean they should be encouraged to supplement their protein from natural diet?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. Okay. Can you share a link for elderly more than 60 years of postmenopausal women? What routine workout they can do? How can you guide them on that?
As far as the workout is concerned, age is just a number. At any age, you can start weight training and you can start a bit of cardio. But now, suppose if I ask you to run down and run up the stairs, then you are basically asking for trouble. The
Correct.
thing is, you need supervised weight training to begin with, and you need a careful combination of cardio with it, coupled with flexibility exercise. So as the person matures in doing this, they will improve. There is one study, a Japanese study about they were basically studying 85 plus 85 years aged women, more 85 was the least they studied, 85 plus. So what they did is they started assisted squats in them. The Japanese have a very high old population and they are into nursing homes where they are taken care of. So they used assisted squats and they saw dramatic improvement in all their other health-wise parameters. So no age is bar. You can start at any age, start slowly and progress very comfortably on that particular modality.
Right. Right. What about honey instead of sugar? Imran sir.
They are all same basically. Honey doesn't have any extra advantage. If you trying to incorporate it, just calculate its calorie. Even sugar is not bad as long as it fits in your diet. Like 1 gram, 5 grams of sugar gives you around 20 calories. So if it fits in your diet chart, then absolutely. But the only thing is that these are all like very least satiating things. They spike insulin very fast. Your blood sugar fluctuates widely, and that's the reason you land up in craving. See, if you are very happy with just 1 teaspoon of sugar, or more craving, then it's fine. But the usual scenario is we don't end up with 1 spoon.
Yes.
Or yeah. So always prefer high satiety food.
Right. I don't know how you can answer this, but someone has asked to please share routine vegetarian diet plan.
Routine vegetarian diet plan.
Diet plan.
Yeah. See, for vegetarian thing, the best source of protein is soya and paneer. Paneer being on a very high fat content, but soya chunks is the most essential component of vegetarian diet, which I have seen 90% people hate having. They don't like the taste of soya. But if you develop a habit of eating soya chunks, nothing like it. And it is very easy to fulfill your protein requirement by including soya chunks or soya flour in your diet.
So soya chunks has equal amount of protein as much as the soya flour, or is it is low in proteins compared to the flour?
Comparatively, soya flour is little bit high on fat, and protein content is more or less same. But if you go by traditional soya chunks which you get from a brand like Nutrela and others, so they have very less amount of fat and maximum protein basically.
Okay. There's some question saying it is said that with detoxification process, fat goes out from the stool and the urine. How much truth is there in this statement? Amol sir, myths,
I don't
myth
believe it.
busting.
I can't believe this.
Okay.
It's like your liver is the best detoxification organ. You don't need detox drink. You don't need detox diet. They are the biggest fat circulating nowadays.
Fats. Yes.
Your liver is
Yeah.
the main detox organ in the body.
Okay. Okay. I have set up a gym. I do weight training, all circuit training exercises 6 days per week, and walk in the evening. I follow a vegetarian balanced diet, multigrain, etc. Still, weight does not decrease as expected. Where am I going wrong?
You must be probably having more calories than you need to lose weight. So
It's not
I
quantified.
suggest you to check your calories and
You
make
need,
a proper deficit in your diet to
you
lose.
need to go into a negative energy balance to lose weight. So probably
Quantified nutrition is the only solution where you have to calculate each and everything on a digital kitchen scale and then prepare the food.
Usually a deficit of 7,500 calories causes loss of 1 kg of weight. So
Okay.
yeah, so one has to maintain that arithmetic if you want to lose weight.
But walking, time of walking, walking calories burnout is important, or duration of walking is important? Duration or walking calories? Dr. Sumati, please phrase this question again. Detailed day nutrition after 45 years with heavy, moderate fitness schedule. So maybe these questions are person specific, individual specific. How do we take these up? Because many questions on 45 plus, 60 plus, what diet should we take? So what do you have to say about that? How do you, can you give us as a generalized diet plan for them?
No, generalized diet plan nobody can give because
Yes,
as we told you, it's very customized,
correct.
individual. But we can give you the basic broad lines on which these diet plans are based. So Imran has already cleared that you need adequate protein. That is necessary. Amol has told you that you need fats also, because without fats you're not going to have those hormones, right? And you have to condemn use of more carbohydrates, particularly refined. These are the basic. Take lots of green vegetables and fruits. But if you want to have a basic plan, your plan and my plan will be absolutely different.
Different, exactly.
so
Yeah, but-
after 45, probably two things are very crucial, as I have said in my sarcopenia talk.
volume, audio volume.
Adequate protein intake along with basic nutrition, good balanced basic nutrition, and resistance training to gain muscle or to preserve muscle rather. So these two things are paramount after 40 years of age.
Yeah. So everyone just follow these two principles. We cannot give you a customized, they cannot give you a customized diet plan for your age. What's your take on intermittent fasting? Very important.
Favorite question.
Intermittent fasting.
See, intermittent fasting is a tool basically to have less amount of calories, but still you have to calculate your calories. So suppose, for example, you have taken 1200 calories plan. Okay. So either you can have it in a 1 meal or 2 meal or as many as 6 or 8 meals. The end result is going to be same. The only advantage of intermittent fasting is that it gives you some psychological benefit and it gives you a bigger meal during a feeding window. Like 16 hours you are fasting and now 1200 calories you want to eat in 1 or 2 meal. So you can nicely prepare 2 meal of 800 calorie each, 600 calorie each. Or if you are having only 1 meal a day, then you can have a big meal of 1200 calorie. The end result is gonna be same basically.
There are two more things in addition to this is intermittent fasting. If you look at the hormonal milieu, so the basic thing which I want to tell everybody who is tuned in is that we have to maintain a very steady state of insulin hormone. Suppose if you get up in the morning and you don't have follow because you're already fasting for 8 hours and you have a meal. So the moment you have a meal, the insulin is going to go up. Now, this basically opposes the effects of other hormones like growth hormone and cortisol. So we don't want that, right? So intermittent fasting helps you maintain that steady state insulin and gives your internal hormones to get the best advantage out of you. That is a very important fact. In addition to the fact that you are going to have a large meal during that 8-hour feeding window. The other advantage of intermittent fasting is if you are exercising during intermittent fasting,
Yes.
or when you're fasting, then the growth hormone utilization by the muscles is much better. So these are 2-3 advantages associated with this kind of fasting regimens. And
Yeah,
now
doctor.
a lot
Yeah.
of literature coming on about the immune responses in intermittent fasting.
That is what I
Fasting
was
is
giving
better
on.
for a good immune response. That's what people are saying.
So there is a controversy, like a kind of controversy, like fasting is being promoted nowadays to boost your immunity as well as to take care of your dead cells in your body, the phagocytosis that we call. So there is just a controversy whether intermittent fasting also helps in the similar way, the way fasting helps. So it is said that if you fast for a week, then probably you get a very good response in your body. But similar kind of response, whether you get with intermittent fasting or not, that is one still controversial.
Okay.
And Dixit diet is totally unscientific before anybody asks me.
Okay. All right. The next question is, yeah, you were saying something, Dr. Kadu?
So anything to be effective, the fasting, if it has to be effective, it has to be more than 18 hours. That is what has been said.
Right. Dr. Kritika is saying she has a cervical disc prolapse at multiple levels. Is it advisable to do strength training?
Of
Dr.
course.
Sadashiv.
Yes, of course. I have got cervical disc prolapse at multiple settings too. And I had used to have severe neck pains. My MRI shocked me beyond doubt. And since the day I started resistance training about 10 years back, everything is back to normal. And I maintain a very good posture and I don't get pains or anything. So, but why it has to be very supervised. You don't want to do anything stupid to, damage your spine more. So it has to be a increasing progressive increase in the strength of the extensors of the neck and we say the posterior chain muscle as a whole. Posterior chain muscle is extensor of the neck, trapezius, periscapular muscle, lower back, everything, including hamstrings and calf.
Yeah. Dr. Amol was saying something. Dr. Amol?
Absolutely. It depends on the status of the disc prolapse, whether it's an acute disc prolapse, whether you have recovered from that disc prolapse or not, whether your muscles are, the spasm is gone. If you have actually recovered, you have given 5-6 months for that disc prolapse to settle down, then probably you can start slowly with some basic muscle training exercises, and then you can easily go on to do very advanced kind of trainings with a disc prolapse. No issues.
Right. Since you asked us not to have sugar, what about sugar free?
Sugar free is nothing but an amino acid, aspartame. So it metabolizes into methanol, and the study which the myth which arises like it causes cancer. The study was done long before on rats, and they were given an absurd amount of sugar free or aspartame in their diet. So the thing is, the study which is conducted on the rats or animals may not replicate or is not going to replicate on human beings. And to have that much amount of aspartame, it amounts to around 500 cans of Diet Coke in a day. Okay, how much? 500 tablets, 500 cans, or more than 200 or 300 tablets of sugar free in your diet. We get away with hardly 4 or 5 or maximum 10 can a day, or 10 or 15 tablets a day. That's why FDA has also set a limit of up to 42 tablet or probably more is safe for consumption.
So it's not necessary to have stevia. You can have these aspartame tablets as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, great. All right. Oh, then the next question was about Dixit diet. Dr. Sadashiv has already answered. Balanced diet for a 5-year-old. What can we do for childhood obesity? Maybe a brief principle about that. Childhood obesity.
Childhood obesity is one of the major problems today because of several factors. You remember when we were kids, we hardly used to sit at one place. In fact, तब मार पड़ती थी कि तू घर पे आ, बाहर मत रहे, खेल मत, बहुत हो गया खेलना. अभी उल्टा हो गया, अभी मार पड़ती बच्चे को कि तू ये टैबलेट छोड़, मोबाइल छोड़ और बाहर जा. So our activity levels in children have changed. The food which you used to eat has changed. They are going for wrong food, high calorie food, obesity.
Junk.
And the worst thing that is going to happen to generations to come is childhood obesity. If your child is childhood obesity, if it's an epidemic, so if your child is obese, you have to put lot of effort in seeing to that he's lean, it is or she is lean, because it becomes a big problem later. Children who are obese also have poor responses of sex hormones when they attain puberty. Children male children who are obese have suboptimal penile development, have low levels of testosterone when they are 18 years of age. So it is something which is to be addressed at home by mothers and parents, fathers as well, on a very, very strict basis.
Right. What are complicated compound exercises?
Compound, basically.
Compound exercises.
Compound is basically which uses more than two joints, multifunctional, multi-joints exercises like squats, deadlift, bench press, and overhead press. These are the 4 major compound exercises, and they burn. They because they involve most of the muscle. They recruit more muscles at the same time, and that's why they need to be done on the initial part of your exercise regimen, so that on the later part of your exercise, when it comes to a simple exercise, you should be able to do it effectively. Like doing a bicep curl or hamstring curl is an isolated exercise, but doing squat or doing deadlift, which involves multiple joints, multiple muscles, is a compound exercise.
Right. Right. And how should we do rotation of exercising muscle groups? How do we decide which groups to do when?
Yeah, this
See,
is
ideally the number of sets, optimal number of sets per muscle per week is around 20 sets of each muscle per week. Now either it can be divided into 2 or 3 sessions, or can be taken in a one session. Now if you do like 20 sets of exercises in one session, it is going to be less effective, because after first 10 sets you will definitely lose on efficiency. Okay, you will definitely going to compromise. So you can divide that session in 2 or 3, like 6 sets of chest muscles 3 times a week. So it comes around 18 or 20, round of 20 curl. So minimum 20 sets each muscle per week should be the starting point. And after that, once you develop the tolerance to that, then you can either increase the weight, or you can either increase the repetition, or either you can increase the sets of your exercises. So it has to be taken up gradually. That is called as progressive overloading.
Patients with, she mentioned severe knee pain, but generally patients with knee problems, what exercises should they do?
Amol.
Patients with knee pain usually have to start with muscle strengthening exercises, and they usually have problem with hamstring spasms as well. Like a person who has a knee pain usually will have a stiff hamstring as well as a stiff calf muscle. So it has to be a balance between, to start with, it has to be a balance between basic strengthening exercises and stretching of quadriceps, hamstrings, and calf muscles. Then as you get rid of your pain, then you can slowly progress to like higher or advanced strengthening exercises. To begin with, initially they should avoid compound exercises. Those exercises involve knees. So they should focus on isolation exercises for knee, like for quadriceps and hamstrings and calf muscle. And once they become better at those exercises, then can gradually shift to compound exercises.
Right, perfect. How to count macros and micros required for your body weight? How do they do that?
Quantified way, like you have to weigh everything. You have to Google little bit. Like I give you an example: 100 grams of uncooked rice gives you around 70 grams of carbohydrate. So if your limit is 75 grams of carbohydrate in a day, then either you can have that 100 grams in an entire meal, or you can split it into 50 grams. Okay, so this completes your carbohydrate. Then
no, but her question probably is, how should she know how much carbs, how much proteins, and how much fat?
It all depends on her.
Number one, you have to
goal.
decide calories.
Ah.
If you want to lose weight, you have to decide calories. You cut down 20% of calories from your maintenance calorie. Then suppose if your maintenance calorie is suppose 1000, okay, for example. So now you have to what number one, protein. I said number one, always see protein. Your weight is 50 kg, so you have to eat at least 75 gram to 100 gram. Okay, remove that part from the thing. So you have, once you have set up the protein requirement, then if you love more fat than carbs, then allot some more calories to fat, then have less carb. If you like eating more carbs, then you have to balance it by going on low fat diet. So as I said in my talk, like minimum 0.5 to 0.6 gram per kg of fat should be your requirement for optimal hormonal health. So fat is also equally important. So once you have set up your fat limit, then allot remaining calories to your carbohydrates. So this is how you have to prepare your diet charts.
Right. And for proper dedicated weight loss, please contact IS Fitness. Right? So that's a message I wanted to give. So please contact them. They are available online. regarding weight training in postmenopausal women, how much weight should be increased daily and to what limit the increase should be only for fitness? So how do they increase weight at home while they're working out?
See, the first thing is to condition the muscle to work and contract. That is called neural recruitment or muscular recruitment. A trained athlete will use less weight, he'll contract his muscle more and get more advantage. So what we tell is that you should have at least 15 repetitions in a set to begin with. That is called adaptation. And use the weight which you're comfortable with. After a few weeks, you will find that you are very comfortable doing 15 repetitions with this particular weight. So now you have to increase it. So you can increase, normally the weight is, if you start with a 5 kg dumbbell, then you can increase to 7.5, then you can increase to 10, then you can increase to 12.5, because this is a calibration in which these dumbbells are available, most of them, in all the areas of the world. So you have to keep on increasing. Now you will notice that at 10 kg, you can only do 5 repetitions. That means this is a challenge. Even 5 repetitions are important when you are working for strengthening and hypertrophy of the muscle. So it is not that if you're doing 5, you're wasting it. In fact, you are getting a lot of advantages by doing even 5 reps at that particular weight. So you have to gradually increase, and the progressive loading should be your basic interest in doing these exercises.
Right. Should a meal be replaced by a protein shake? Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. But it has to be calculated. Like I said, there are many supplements like Herbalife. I'll give you example of Herbalife. See, Herbalife doesn't work in isolation. Okay. You are just replacing one meal with the low calorie Herbalife shake, and you are losing on your meal. So ultimately you are creating a calorie deficit and you are losing weight. So this is the law, according to law of thermodynamics, you have to eat less calories and expend more calories. Okay. So if it fits in a lifestyle, then it's okay, but perfectly. But it can be done easily by calculating your calories, and no need to go for meal replacement as such, because it is not sustainable. Ultimately the thing becomes कि जो sustainable है वो करो. Result may be slow, but it should become your habit for lifelong success.
That's the key, right? Definitely. Do you have a branch at Ahmedabad? Doctors, they are all available online. Their website is iasfitness.com, right? And they're also on Facebook and Instagram, so you can contact them there. Sir, what about biological clock when we talk about sleep?
Yeah, see, circadian rhythm is very important thing, and usually your melatonin secretion starts at around 10 a.m. If you are a habitual, normal, if you have a regular sleeping pattern, then but in our profession, particularly, I'm telling you, it gets distorted right from the time we go into our medical practice.
True.
But circadian rhythm, there are some principles, like even if it is distorted, you are going to be on a high cortisol site once you wake up in the morning, and your cortisol is low and insulin sensitivity is best in the evening hours. So that is the time, evening, you should have more carbohydrate, and in the evening your body is more warm and more flexible. So the ideal exercise timing should be at around 5 to 6 p.m. in the evening hours to catch up with your circadian rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have already mentioned, but maybe there are 3-4 questions. Suggest proteins for vegetarians. You've already mentioned, but maybe a quick recap.
Yeah, it's like milk products like whey protein, paneer, cheese, soya chunks, varieties of lentils, rajma. But the vegetarian source का एक problem है कि they are also equally high in carbohydrate. So somehow you have to calculate those carb, and you have to balance it properly by reducing fat in your diet.
दूसरा एक प्रॉब्लम absorption का भी होता है, मतलब vegetarian proteins are, see, the proteins you eat are good enough if they get absorbed into your system. So there is certain problem with absorption of vegetarian proteins. Then the amino acid profile of vegetarian proteins is not as good, except soya and cheese and dairy products. The dals, lentils, rajma, their amino acid profile is not very ideal as compared to animal protein. But yes, if you are a vegan, then you can have plant source proteins also, which are available now.
Right. Do you do online consulting? Yes, they do. What is better for weight loss of 3 to 4 kgs? a combination of yoga and cardio or a combination of yoga and weight training?
It is a diet, and you have to first see, like, don't go for weight. As our theme or today's webinar is think about inches and not don't think about weight. So initial 3-4 kgs is going to be a water loss, irrespective of what kind of diet you follow. You may not get even a single kg of weight loss on your weighing scale, but you will definitely feel more strength. That is indirect indicator that you have gained some muscle, you have improved your metabolic health, and you will find yourself, 1 inch or 2 inch down by keeping a track of your measurements. So weight loss is a very vague term. Basically, always we should think about fat loss,
Fat loss.
and gaining strength. See,
Yeah.
2-3 kgs here and there can be done very easily. Like, it doesn't require even a diet or even a kind of running, and thoda bahut kar lo to wo ho jata hai. But it is going to come back eventually.
Yes. What can we do for sleeping? It has become a big problem. Can't sleep whole night. In the morning, the whole day is dull. So, any tips for getting good sleep?
Check. You can try melatonin supplements.
They can.
Melatonin tablets.
So they can take melatonin.
Yes, yes. We recommend melatonin. It has anti-inflammatory effect. It has got, it's a physiological hormone basically, and can be safely taken up to 5 to 10 milligram of melatonin is very safe. And what we have in our clinical practice, like even we had taken it, it definitely did have some good effect.
All right. Which good institute to learn professionally about nutrition and fitness? Where can they get themselves trained?
There are many available. ISSA is there, then CSCS is there, INFS is there. There are many, but they see, like, they give a very vague. Actually, for doctors, there is no need to learn, because we have already learned it in our biochemistry that time. We just have to revise. But if you really want to go for a very professional thing, then you should go for ISSA, or either you can go for NSCA or CSCA. An American academy.
We have done, all of us have done specializations through ISSA.
Yeah.
That's the standard. It has its headquarters in California, and they have a very standard protocol of teaching and testing and exams and everything. And you can go into subspecialty practice, like Amol is in sports conditioning, I do bodybuilding. So you choose that specialty. There are around 7-8 different specialties where you can do that.
Yeah, Amol, Dr. Amol, yes.
I totally agree with Imran. Like, we have done certifications, but whatever we have learned is actually learned in the first MBBS. We have learned everything in biochemistry. We have read everything in physiology. If you go through Guyton, everything is there, but we haven't seen that through a proper perspective in our MBBS days. Probably we were looking for disease treatment, and now we have to change the perspective and read it again. That is the only way we have learned. Probably the certification agencies have given us a direction. So probably our knowledge is good enough to go ahead, and a direction can be seen through some certification.
Yeah. Again, about whey protein, Dr. Kritika is saying it's not about endorsing, but please suggest the whey protein you trust. So what do you want to say to her? She has posted 3 questions on the same topic. So maybe she wants answer for that.
See, we give absolute protein, protein, then muscle blaze, then
on optimum nutrition. On is optimum nutrition.
There are many. See, nowadays it is very easy. Like, you just scan a barcode and check the authenticity. Check the authenticity. That's the reason we are not endorsing any brand, because they may misfire. So ultimately, it is you who is going to check the authenticity by going through their details and scan the barcode and check it with their customer care and all.
Yeah. One thing which we did was, when we started the institute, we ordered different kinds of proteins, and we opened some of the boxes, and we sent samples to the lab for finding out the contents. And some of the good brands, we were shocked to see that what they were selling was not what they were advertising at the back of their label. So you have to, you have to be really, a little bit wise in choosing protein powder. And if you use the substandard brands, and that is where things start getting wrong, and then the protein gets a bad name. Actually, whey itself is an excellent protein. All of the athletes all over the world take whey.
Yeah. So people who have lost a lot of weight, but only remaining is the abdominal fat. Now what to do?
Start lifting weight, do more compound exercises, start building muscles.
Okay.
It is a body recomposition which is going to help. Probably you have lost a lot of muscles while losing fat also.
Right. Consuming compressed coconut oil in a tea, 1 teaspoon in a cup of coffee or tea, does it increase BMR? What's your opinion?
No, as such, it doesn't increase your BMR, but definitely it helps if you are following a ketogenic diet, because coconut oil has more MCT, medium chain triglycerides, and they directly go into energy sources, like without getting absorbed into the portal vein, directly absorbed from the intestine, and half of that gets converted into ketone bodies, which provides instant energy. So it is one of the best source, but as such, it doesn't increases your BMR. Uh, there are no literatures available for that.
People use it,
Caffeine is a
people use it as
stimulant.
a pre-workout drink usually.
Yes, yes, it's a pre-workout drink because caffeine is a stimulant, and it people say whoever we all take it actually, to be very frank, and it keeps your focus and it keeps you into that groove when you're exercising. So it's a
Right,
very
right.
popular pre-workout drink.
Okay. Patients with rheumatoid arthritis, once the acute phase is over, can they do resistance training?
Absolutely, absolutely, and they must, because sarcopenia is more with patients of rheumatoid arthritis. So they have to take care of their muscles. They have to look for their protein requirements and have to go for resistance training.
Okay.
Although they have to start slow, but that is the best thing they can do for themselves.
Okay. Again, the same question. How do they calculate the macro split? What's the formula for a person weighing at this age at 70 kilos? So how will she know what's her macros? How do you calculate that?
What is her activity level? Is she mild,
Yeah,
moderate?
so
So
not
you
mentioned. She just mentions how do we calculate the macro split which are required for our body.
Number one is calorie. You have to decide calorie first. By whether if you want to gain muscles, you have to go on a little surplus than your total energy expenditure, like 200 calories more than your TDEE. Then with this age, you calculate your lean muscle mass and add 2.5 gram per kg protein of your lean muscle mass. Keep that calorie aside. Now rest of the calorie equally, like 40% from carbohydrate or 60% from fat or vice versa, whatever you like, and you can start. So these are the things which needs to be done properly.
they have to be addressed
Yeah,
professionally
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Okay. Whey protein for diabetics. What's your opinion for diabetics?
Yes,
Diabetic patients?
yes, it is very helpful. It is very
Helpful.
Absolutely safe.
Yeah.
And
How
also
much?
weight training. And also weight training.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
Right.
only aerobic training. Aerobic training is a double-edged sword. If you do it too much, the diabetic is going to lose his muscles. And exercising muscles have an extra insulin pathway for sugar control. So
Okay.
instead of running, you do aerobic only once or twice a day to maintain a good heart health. And you put that time into weight training. That will really, we have a reversal diabetes policy now. And diabetes is a nutritional and a lifestyle disease. It can be totally reversed completely with nutrition and exercise.
Actually, we have discussed this earlier as well, sir.
Yes.
Because we have there are some literature which suggests there are insulin independent pathways of glucose absorption with muscles. So
Yes.
if you do a lot of resistance training, then those pathways are activated. So probably patients who have diabetes, they can use this pathway by doing some resistance training, and their glucose utilization and carb utilization by muscles improves. So that takes care of blood sugar very well.
Okay.
We had very good results with many of our diabetic patients. In fact, some of them were on very high doses of insulin, and they were totally reversed. And they continue to, some of them who continue to follow the same lifestyle are still doing very well. So diabetes is something which we should treat not with insulin or with OHA, but with nutrition and exercise.
Right. Is taking BCAA advisable?
Only for vegans, like if you don't get it by BCAA is can be easily taken with a natural source of protein. Also all natural source of protein has BCAA, that is leucine, isoleucine, valine, okay, and tyrosine, and all essential amino acid. But in some cases of vegan, those who are very strict vegan, so they can supplement it either, otherwise it is just gonna be oxidized and it is more expensive. So you can buy a good brand of whey protein rather than going through BCAA drink.
Yeah. What is the ideal combination of body fat and lean mass? What should be the ideal combination?
Like for males, it should be less than 20. Between 10 to 20 is good. For females, 25 to 30% of body fat is good for maintaining hormonal health as well as for having that decent lean look. extreme that below that for some time it is good. If you are into the modeling profession, then for some time, for 1 or 2 months, you can go below 10% males. People go up to 5%. Females goes below 20 or 20%, but that comes with a cost of disturbed hormonal milieu. So you have to reverse it back once your job is done.
Do you advise weight training only under the supervision of a trainer?
On initial days, if you are learning properly, if you have a decent form, then there is no need of trainer, absolutely. But in initial days, but the problem is the trainer should be well qualified. In our country, we have to train the trainers.
That's the next question. What weight training? Which professional to contact? Physiotherapists or gym trainers? How do we know what degree in gym trainers they do have?
There's nothing like that.
In India, there is a lot of unprofessionalism. They are still in a nascent stage. They go by their bro science, whatever has been taught to them by their superiors. So you should be able to learn it. Nowadays, there are YouTube, there are many authentic people to follow, on Instagram, on Facebook. And you should learn by yourself, because it is going to be with you till you die.
Yes.
Yeah, Doctor. We have seen many physiotherapists who have absolutely no idea about weight training or exercise.
True. Yeah, Dr. Amol.
Yeah, again, physiotherapists probably can turn out to be a good trainer actually, but again, the implication of the knowledge is still with the rehabilitation of patient and not for muscle strengthening. So if they start using their knowledge in that area, then probably they can turn out to be good trainers.
Right. Micro workouts are helpful. Can you please throw some light on that? Micro workouts.
I haven't heard about that.
Micro workouts is a concept which was basically it was propagated by Baba Ramdev.
Oh.
Micro workouts. So they say better if you just shrug your shoulders 10 times, and it's a micro workout. I don't think it makes any difference. Okay. Unless you are so inactive that you don't even do this today, then it's okay. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Okay. How to prevent body adaptation in weight training? Body gets adapted very soon. So how do we prevent that?
Progressive overloading.
Progressive overloading.
Progressive overloading. Suppose if you are comfortable with lifting 5 kg weight, to increase it to 10 kg. So you are increasing the strain on your muscle and physiology. Second thing is you are rotating muscles. You are using certain muscles which are not used during routine workouts. So you're isolating also. You're doing compound exercises and you're isolating muscle group for specific exercises. So that puts a challenge, and that weight training never will cause adaptability if you do it properly.
Right. What about insulin response to multiple small meals, even when calories are restricted, which causes insulin-related growth factor to increase and inhibits fat burning? Is intermittent fasting beneficial in that way?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. But any meal, be it fat, be it protein, or be it carbohydrate, they tend to have a same insulin response. But see, ultimately, after 24 hours, if your calorie intake is excess, then whatever fat you have lost, or whatever insulin response you have got, ultimately at the end of the day, if you are in a calorie surplus, you are gonna deposit all those.
But she says she's calorie restricted.
Yeah, in calorie restriction, still it doesn't have much effect. You can intermittent fasting is not a magical as for weight loss is concerned, but definitely it helps you in reducing appetite signals. But that too happens in very overweight people, because they have a lot of fat in their body as a store, and they tend to do better. For an average person, like who has a good amount of less amount of body fat and just want to reduce little bit of it, in that case it may not help.
Right. In the treadmill walk, walking at the speed of 12 kilometers for 5 minutes and 6 kilometers speed walking for 10 minutes will burn out the same amount of calories. So can you explain the duration of walking is important or the calorie burnout? What is more important?
See, going flat out, there is a study, I don't remember from the exact university, which it's a university conducted study. And the more stress is on the severity of exercise here. So if you're running at 12 for 6 minutes, or if you're running at 6 for 12 minutes, so the former will have more effect, because you are putting your physiology to maximum test here. So I think the severity here is more important in this
Right.
particular.
Rajeshri, can you please post their website name in the chat box? People are asking for the website. Rajeshri? Yeah, Yamini, one of you please post their website in the chat box.
Yes,
Uh, yeah, can insulin sensitizers help for weight loss?
In extreme cases, when all the traditional measures have failed, the best sensitizer is weight training and regular activity. In most of the case, like it get optimized, and you don't need to have insulin sensitizers as a separate entity. But one amino acid, the recent glutamine. The only best thing about glutamine is that it helps in releasing incretin hormones and better insulin response. So you can add a scoop of glutamine at bedtime to if you are fasting, sugar is not good. So, but as such, insulin sensitizer in isolation may help, but weight training is superior anyhow. It reverses your condition very nicely.
Okay. So how are you guys placed? It's 6:45 and there are still lots of questions left.
So we don't have a problem, right?
We don't have
We can go for another 15 minutes maybe. Right. Okay. What's your take on stevia? We have done. Any suggestions for hormonal changes and weight gain? How to maintain the track?
Hormonal changes, as you mean during as in aging.
Maybe possible perimenopausal or premenstrually you gain weight and all. So I think she means that.
Yes.
How to
So
maintain track in that?
maintaining track is that, see, as one person ages, the RMR goes down, the activity level also goes down. So that is the reason, basic reason for weight gain. The hormonal response in a 20-year-old woman and a 50-year-old woman is going to be different. So one has to increase it with a good clean diet and also increase in the activity. That is the only way to maintain.
Right.
Yeah.
Second,
Right.
like, there is something called as menstrual cycle regularization of exercises. That is called as menstrual periodization. See, in during normal menstrual cycles, like during the follicular phase for 14 days, you have more estrogen, and you have better mood, better hormonal milieu. So in
Correct.
that case, you tend to lift more. So all the high intensity, like high heavy training, should be done in a follicular phase. So once you go into the luteal phase, you should reduce the frequency or intensity of your workout, and you should go for the low intensity exercises. That is called as
Oh.
menstrual regularization of
Okay.
yeah. So you can optimize high estrogen phase with heavy lifting, and low estrogen phase with giving a short break or doing some low intensity exercises also.
So should all women follow this pattern, you mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. It
Oh,
itself is a big thing. Like it will take a entire webinar for us to cover
I
the
know. True.
menstrual regularization of the
Right, right. So, talking about menstruation, can you bust this myth whether women can do weight training during menstruation?
Yeah, absolutely. If you are comfortable doing back, because that is the best ways. You have a high estrogen level and your mood is better, and it all
So
depends
while
on your personal
so
choice.
while they're bleeding, they can do heavy workouts, right?
Of course,
Absolutely, absolutely.
they
All
run
right.
full marathons when they are menstruating.
Yeah, yeah. I was more wanting to know about weight training rather than
Of course,
they can. Yeah. Childhood obesity, they have already covered. Website, repeat the name of website. It is mentioned in the chat box. Please repeat the fat oblique intake, fat per day intake calculation. Can you repeat? Sorry, there's again this question.
Fat calculation.
Yeah.
It should be 0.6 gram per kg of body weight. Suppose if you are weighing 100 kgs and you are going in a calorie deficit diet, so keep at least 60 grams of fat. That is 9 calories per gram. That is 554 calories roughly should be allotted to fat, and you should calculate that. And it should be from the variety of keep saturated fat on a little lower side if you are having good amount of carbohydrates. Prefer more monounsaturated fat, omega-3 fatty acids. Include some, if you're non-vegetarian, include some fatty fish in your diet, or have some fish oil supplements also. So that helps a lot. You should not go below 50.5 gram per kg of body weight. It ultimately disturbs your hormonal production. And yeah,
Yeah. What's your opinion about Jain Dharam Upavas that they have?
that is fantastic. Basically, ultimately, as Amol sir has said, they go for fast for a longer time. And any fast which is more than 18 hours of duration is going to make that autophagy concept more sensible. So just fasting for 12 hours or 13 hours in 2 or 3 days is not going to help. If you want to utilize the proper fasting scientifically, then this dry fast which Muslim observes for 15, 16 hours, or the Jainism which suggests this fasting, so they all improves your autophagy. They make you discipline. In those fasting period, you unnecessarily, you don't tend to eat, you become more pious. You become, your thinking changes, your hormonal level changes, your stress level comes down. So it works uh, in a complete sense, basically. And the fasting advantage is definitely there. But see, it's very difficult to fast unless you are very, but in this time you have to take care of your electrolytes, particularly sodium and potassium. You have to keep a track of that.
Yeah. Dr. Manju, yes, it is iisfitness.com, and you can also check the chat box that's mentioned there. So when we increase weight training from 5 kg to 7.5, and we are able to do only 5 times, then are we supposed to go back to 5 kgs and do 45 reps?
No, no. You can continue with 5 reps on that particular. There is no point in going back and doing it.
Add
Doesn't
more
work. Add one more set of 5.
If you are doing 4 sets, then add the
One
fifth
more
set.
fifth set.
Add
Okay.
more exercise next time.
Yeah.
This is how you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, since we are running short of time, I'm not going to take the repetitive questions. This session will be uploaded on our website. So you can go back and view the entire session again, because time is really less and I can't take the repetitive questions. Sorry. Does taking protein powder with milk cause weight gain?
No, if it fits in your macro, if you are calculating milk calories, if you know that that fits in your macro, it fits in your diet. So it doesn't. If you are eating excess calorie, then it will gain. That will make you gain your weight.
Okay, mention exercise only for muscle gain and not for weight loss.
There is nothing like that. But even during weight loss, or even during weight gain, you have to do the same amount of exercise. During weight loss, we do exercise not to lose weight, but to maintain the muscle mass, not to lose muscle. And for gaining, you have to eat more to gain more.
Right.
Basically, there are 3 phases in a career of an athlete when he is doing weight training. One is called a strengthening phase, where you are starting new and you want to strengthen your basic musculature. So that back, upper limbs, upper chest and limbs, and lower limbs. That is the strengthening phase. The second phase is called the hypertrophy phase, where you gain weight, you gain muscle. And the third phase is the shedding phase, where you are, going on a calorie deficit diet and doing certain exercises in a different way. Now, hypertrophy usually requires you to do 8 to 12 repetitions of in a particular set. If you are able to do more than 12, then your weight is less. So in hypertrophy, we basically focus on increasing more and more and more weight. In shredding, the philosophy is slightly different, where you don't concentrate much on weight, but you concentrate on doing those number of sets completely, and also inculcating some kind of circuit training along with it, along with a calorie deficit diet. So these are basic things which need to be addressed. You cannot do everything at all the time. So
All the time.
it has to be in phases.
Yeah. Can you guide them about which molecule of calcium should they take after the age of 45? Any tips? Which calcium?
Usually the calcium we advise after, like for adults, is calcium carbonate, which should be taken after meals. Some patients have issues with constipation, then they can be shifted to calcium citrate malate, that is CCM. So the best thing is to go for calcium carbonate if it suits you. Otherwise, you can shift to calcium citrate malate, that is CCM.
Okay. Next question. Exercise for fingers for a surgeon.
Grip holding, the
Huh?
grip holding exercise.
Okay. Moringa leaves and I don't understand what's that. Giloy, whatever. Do they help in weight loss?
No.
If creatinine levels are high, can we take protein diet?
See, creatinine level high, you have to see the renal function, how much functioning kidney you have. Number one, GFR. If your GFR is okay, then it's fine. As we said, like protein intake, if your kidneys are bad, then you have to restrict protein amount. But see, the creatinine does not give the indication of your kidney functions. It is more in more muscular people also. So you'll have to exactly pinpoint okay, what is the reason for your raised creatinine, and then you'll have to act accordingly.
You have to calculate GFR basically. GFR is a very
Yes. Yes. The same question, do you conduct online classes, exercises and weight training?
we guide you to how to do it as per, customize it as per your need.
Yeah.
And also customize diet.
Our coordinators like
Yes, and our coordinators will help your trainers to get it done from you.
All right, great. Yeah. Is it good to have flavored whey protein with enzyme blend?
yeah,
Yes, yes.
absolutely safe.
Okay. What is resistant training? Very basic question.
Weight training, strength training, resistance training is all the same. So where you use external weights or your body weight to perform exercises is called resistance training.
Can Hatha Yoga be considered as strength training?
For initial part, for beginners, but once you get adapted, you will have to add some more by like
You have to add
optimize it.
weights.
You have to add weights basically.
To Hatha
Right.
Yoga.
Please repeat the institute name for nutrition training, the one where you got trained. IS?
ISSA, International Sport Science Association.
ISSC.
ISSA, International Sport Science Association.
ISSA. Okay. Lots of compliments for you. So I have to really search the questions in between. How much amount of non-veg to be consumed daily?
This is not good. When you're taking a
No, no.
Viagra, you're not saying
No. So after the Q&A, I'm not going to end the session, and you all have to keep logged in and read all the compliments which are like which have flooded the chat box. Okay. Okay. Suggestions for PCOD. Exercise suggestions for PCOD.
Resistance training, optimize calorie deficit diet, and
Low carbohydrate diet.
change in a lifestyle. And low carbohydrate diet definitely has some role because of insulin resistance.
Yeah.
So till the time you are insulin resistant, you can follow low carb. Once you get optimized, then probably you can add gradually some more carbohydrate and keep lifting weights.
It is an excellent tool for patients with PCOD and PCOS.
True.
Excellent.
Dr. Kadu, please bust this myth of how much amount of non-veg can be consumed daily and how frequently without any disadvantage.
It again comes back to the same thing. How much is your requirement depending on your goal? So that is what I think. There is no other criteria which decides how much non-veg you can eat. If it's
So they can have it daily, right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That's a question. Can it be taken daily? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should a protein shake be taken before or after a workout?
Before also, after also, both have their own place. But if you are a beginner, then your anabolic window is extended up to 24 hours. So you can have it. There is no need to immediately, just after exercise, have protein shake. Then only it will work. Your anabolic stimulus lasts till 48 hours. So you can have it anytime.
Okay. And what was that? Is it good to do weight training in the evening?
More physiological as per your circadian rhythm, because your body is warm, you have more flexibility. You tend to get injured less if you train in the evening.
Your
Right.
work is done throughout the day. You don't have a list in the evening. So you should shift to working early in the morning
And
and
then
you
work out in the evening.
by around 5 to 6 to work out with an open and calm mind. That is a lifestyle change that everybody must do.
Right. What is leptin resistance? Is binge eating associated with leptin resistance? How do I lose weight if I can't process when I'm full? She can't process when she's full. So what about this leptin resistance? Do you binge eat a lot when you have this?
See, it's again comes down to, there you require, a little bit change in your diet. What is the cause of leptin resistance? Basically, it itself is a very big topic. And
True.
yeah, not possible to address at this session particularly, but most of the time our psychology takes over on all these terms, like, so always start, if you are leptin resistance, if you are insulin resistance, try to start a calorie deficit diet and try to bring down your body fat percentage. Addressing craving, addressing the fullness, it requires just psychological support and some compliments also. If you see, our approach is little aggressive initially, because if you lose 4 or 5 kgs in a initial fast period, then automatically it becomes a big motivation for you to carry it further.
Right. How to add glutamine?
Glutamine, usually you get everything in your diet. If you are having eggs, then it is definitely a rich source of glutamine. Whey protein always have glutamine, but there are glutamine powders also available.
5 milligram
5
bedtime.
milligram at bedtime is good for your optimal growth hormone and for your optimal incretin secretion if you have glucose intolerance. But it is basically a GI specific amino acid, GI specific.
Okay.
But
Okay. You done? Yeah. Any asanas in yoga or any particular exercise for insomnia?
Shavasana. See, sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a session on sleep, right? So sleep is a very multifactorial kind of a thing. Many people, when the lockdown was announced and nobody was really going out, everybody had insomnia. That was because their whole stress of the day, mental and physical stress, went down substantially. And they were not put into physical and mental stress at all, and they were relaxing at home, so they could not sleep. So sleep, we had one session with the psychiatrist also. There are multiple factors involved. First is you should not take stimulants after 5 p.m.
Yes.
Second is the kind of diet you have in the evening, the kind of exercise protocol you follow, the physical tiredness, then also the distraction by music, by tabs, by TVs, by
True.
when you indulge yourself or your partner in the bedroom indulges himself into this, and a dark quiet room, all these
blue
things,
light.
lights. So there are multifactorial things which usually give you a quality sleep. So it has to be addressed very, very individually, I think.
But
Right.
melatonin, as I said, melatonin definitely helps.
Melatonin tablet is safe.
You can have it.
So they can take take it safely over the counter.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's the over-the-counter nutraceutical product, and we recommend
All
it.
right. So I'll read out 2 compliments, Sadashi, on your request. All the 3 excellent discussion. All the 3 speakers are so exuberant. Okay, that was one for you. And great session. Congratulations to all these 3 experts. Wonderful session. You all are an inspiration for them. So there's 2, 3 I wanted to read out. Is it biologically safe to run full marathon with respect to heart and knee?
no, it is not, unless you have trained really well for that activity. You cannot start at the age of 50 and start running full marathons. It is not good. And there is a study which has found out that the atherosclerotic changes in the coronaries of full marathon runners are as much as sedentary people. So it's not a very good idea to run a full marathon unless you are properly trained for it for months, if not years, and you follow a very good protocol. Second thing, the protein requirement of a marathon runner are much higher than a bodybuilder. This I must tell you. And third important thing is also the training of muscles and strengthening of muscles. So you cannot just run a marathon by a marathon runner. You have to strengthen your muscles by weight training also while doing this activity.
So
Right,
training for marathon will, I think that is what we call as sports conditioning or
Yes.
strength conditioning of athletes. Like when you are preparing for a marathon, it has to be probably a 3-4 month long process where you have like a pre-marathon diet and exercise schedule, then 1 month prior to the marathon, and again just a week prior to marathon. Everything is planned according to the phase where you are going to run a marathon. So that is very crucial if you want to run marathons without any injuries, without any heart associated issues and any injuries to the back. So proper conditioning is very important.
If you look at the literature, there are many marathon deaths reported. Even in,
Yes.
see, if you want to compete in the Boston Marathon, you have to have certain credentials. Even if you are good in Mumbai Marathon, that does not qualify you. They have a certain qualifying time, which is much tougher. But so all the athletes who run in Boston Marathon are prime athletes. Even if they are amateur, they are not professionals, still they are above the rest. Still, deaths do occur because the physiological stress your body is put through. But having said that, it is one of the most wonderful thing a person can do. I've done it, and it puts you in a trance, and it's a kind of meditation which you do. After a certain time, it's all the mind game, and the pain and the stress which your body endures gives you a different kind of joy. The endorphin secretion is amazing when you finish a marathon. There's a lot of brotherhood, and it's a community sport because you
Yes.
don't run alone.
Yes.
You run with all your friends, so it's an amazing sport.
True. True. So crystal clear idea about weight training, cardio, very, very informative session. Congratulations to IS and to NOGS also.
Thank you.
I wanted to read out one compliment for us out of the many. I'll take just one last question. Difficulty in digesting proteins, what should I do?
Difficulty in digesting protein.
Yeah.
You have to up your protein requirements slowly. You have to have variety of proteins, like blend of vegetarian, non-vegetarian, vegan, and you have to keep your water intake high, water intake adequate. Okay, because protein leads to constipation. If you are not used to having protein, then you have to have at least 10 grams fiber per 1000 calorie. So if you are having 2000 calorie meal, so at least try to inculcate 20 grams of soluble fiber. So traditional like Softolax or isabgol husk or psyllium husk, and from other fruits like apple and fiber rich sources.
Sometimes adding a little bit carbohydrate along with the protein also helps in absorption, because it increases the insulin, and insulin is an anabolic hormone, so it helps in absorption and distribution of protein better. If you're on a zero carb diet, then taking protein too much is not of great importance because it doesn't get absorbed.
Right. Just one more question. Which is the best animal protein?
Egg.
Egg.
100%.
Whole egg or white? Egg whites or whole? That one myth again, bust the myth.
Whole egg.
Whole egg.
Yolk is absolutely safe.
Amol barabar na. He's the guy who's busting the myths.
Exactly. So Dr. Amol.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think it's 7 o'clock and we have to end it because you all must be tired and questions won't end. This was one of the best webinars we had till now. We've had successful webinars till now, but this was one of the best. We had more than 300 people logged in and more than 200 were they glued to the screen till our question and answer was over. So thank you so much for this fantastic webinar. IIS team, we are really indebted to you. And friends, their website address is mentioned in the chat box. Please get in touch with them for your further queries. Over to you, Yamini.
Thank you.
Yeah, so many webinars in this lockdown, but this was the best of the bestest. Sadashiv, I'm reading it out for you.
Thank you. No, I was so zapped. You were asking me so many questions and you're not saying even good or very good. So
yeah. So I read out a few of the best ones. You please go through the chat box. It's flooded with compliments for 3 of you.
That's amazing, and I must thank NOGS, and I must also address the enthusiasm of all people, participants and NOGS in particular. And we really enjoyed to be with you, and we are there even to your smallest queries.
Yes,
you can DM us or inbox us your queries and all. We try to our best of our ability, we'll try to answer all of you together. So
thank you. And today we don't have audience only from Nagpur. I just want to tell you, we have people attending our sessions from all over India. Dr. Sarita Gulati, I'm just saying she's from Delhi. So there are many people who log in from different places from India. So yeah, Dr. Sarita. Yeah, I think she's unable to unmute. Yeah, you can unmute and say. She's on up.
Yeah, I'm from Haryana, Yamunanagar.
Yeah, Haryana. She's from Haryana. So a lot of people are from all over India, not just Nagpur. So now you're famous all over India.
Thank you.
Over to you, Yamini.
Superb webinar, sir. Really, absolutely amazing. Ma'am, we have an announcement to be made by Riju Chimote. Riju, are you here? Riju?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll have to unmute. Yeah. I'll just share the presentation. Just a minute.
So thank you so much, Team IS, for this excellent presentation. My announcement is completely off topic. It is for all the Foxians right now, but it was a really motivating talk, sir. And regarding melatonin, what you had mentioned, in my clinical fertility practice, I have been giving melatonin almost daily to all my PCOS patients, especially in fertility. So it has a similar mechanism of action, like you mentioned, in sleep. No problem. So my announcement is basically for all the Foxians. It's a request on behalf of Foxy Family Welfare Committee. It's a Sankalp initiative. And on behalf of Foxy Family Welfare Committee Chairperson, Dr. Shobha Gudi and Dr. Vaidehi Marathe, NOGS President, I would like to request all my fellow Foxians to log on to our site. It will be presented soon. It's a Google form actually on post-abortion contraception survey, and it has been started a couple of months back. It will be an ongoing survey at least for 6 months. So this is the link. I'll be typing the link in the chat box as well. Once you click
Are
on
you able to see it? Sorry, Riju, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay.
So on the screen, you can see the link. It's a link for the Google form. Once you click on this Google form, for iOS users, for iPhone users, you can just click share button, which is on the bottom, and you can add this icon to your home screen. So any patients for post-abortion contraception, you can just click onto this Google form. It takes hardly 30 seconds to fill the form. So this is basically to break the chain for unintended pregnancies. And I seek your support. Thank you so much. If you have any queries regarding the website or how to download the form, I'll just message my contact number in the chat box and the site as well. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, Yamini, in continuation, can you just show the further announcement slides and Rajyasree can take over?
Yes, ma'am, I'll just do that.
Till then, IS guys, please go through the chat box. You need to read all the compliments.
Oh, it has been a fantastic session, absolutely. As smashing as it was expected. Really great thanks to the trio, Dr. Imran, Dr. Sad.
Rajyasree, you're muted.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So we would like to thank our education partners, CIPLA, for the makers of C-Pink and Foli9 and Productive Gold for sponsoring today's session. Thank you so much for the help. And Yamini, can you please show the number? Yes, please. Dear friends, on your screen right now is our NOGS office mobile number. In case you need to be notified of our future DGO GAN online CMEs, please send us your name and mobile number on this number, which is on your screen right now. We'll add you to our broadcast list, and we shall be sending you notifications of our future CMEs. It's been a wonderful session today. Thank you so much to the Dr.
You're not audible. Yamini, Rajyasree.
Yeah, I got muted again. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. The session today reminded me of a nice proverb. Sadashiv sir, this is specially for you.
Yes.
Exercise should not be a punishment for what you eat, but
Yes.
it should be a celebration of what your body can do.
Yes.
So I guess you all busted the myths and told us the exact things to be done with diet and nutrition and exercise. I think it's going to help a lot of our participants go a long way in improving their health.
Yes, and the
So,
other one
dear
is
friends,
age is just a number.
True.
Yes.
That holds true for all of you.
Yes.
True for you, sir.
That's me.
Absolutely. Friends, do log into their website. It's written in the chat box. It is www.iasfitness.com, and you can reach to them and they'll help you resolve all your queries. I would like to thank our chairpersons for today, Dr. Anjali Dange, Dr. Meghna Agrawal, and Dr. Seema Dande for chairing the sessions and introducing our faculty. Dr. Yamini Kare for smoothly conducting the session today. Swati Sarda and Dr. Parul Sharma for recording and technical help as always. Thank you, Riju. That thing was nice. I hope you get to get your PAC on surveys on for the next 6 months.